Oh, yes, 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 yes. Another Wednesday, another webinar by me, Tim Chucker, CEO of TaskDrive. All right, we're going to start in a second, just waiting for some people to join. In the meantime, enjoy the music. Please make some noise. If you can hear me, you can see me. Please put it on the chat. If you can hear me, you can see me. Put it on the chat so that I know that everything's working well. And we are starting. What are we doing today? Every Wednesday I'm doing a webinar, so I get confused now. I'm just joking. I know what's happening. We're gonna do overcoming sales objections, tips and techniques for sales objections. Yeah, I'm loving sales objections at the moment because I'm doing the whole sales here at TaskDrive. And as a CEO, I love doing sales. To be honest, it's been years that I haven't been doing sales, so I'm very excited about this. Just double checking my stream. A few people has reposted it. It looks like we are live. That's really good. I love it. I love it when we don't have technical issues. Oh, yeah, today we didn't have much technical issues. That's really nice to see. Thanks to the people that are here. I do check the chat quite often. So if you have any questions, you want to add something, please do. Do not hesitate. I love a bit of an interaction. Okay, it should be a bit interactive, these type of things. Okay, so do not hesitate, please. All right, awesome. Okay, cool. So what we're gonna be doing, overcoming sales objections, tips and techniques for effective responses. Let me put that up here so everybody knows what we're doing. Right, let me see if I can get that up for you guys. Here we go. Yes. All right. Overcoming sales objections, tips and techniques for effective responses by me, Tim Checker, at TaskDrive. Okay. First of all, we're going to look at some really cool models as well. And as I mentioned, it's actually a good topic for me these days to be tackling this because I've been selling since I think about February, March. I've been selling the whole thing myself. I've been selling myself, not selling me, but selling for TaskDrive, selling our services. And I do get a lot of objections, right? But objections are good because that means that there is something to talk about. There's something that we can continue the conversation with. Okay. So if you do get objections, do not worry. There is many methods that you can tackle those, and we're going to see those now. Okay. Just checking with my team, making sure everything's okay there. Who are you? Where are you connecting from? You can put it on the chat. I'd love to get to know you guys. Who's here? Who's not here? That'd be lovely. All right, you can do that. Cool. I'll share my screen in just about a second. So right now, I'm gonna get that screen ready for you guys. Let's see if this is coming up. Yes, this came up. Let me make that a bit bigger so it takes over the screen, right? And then we can even remove the background if that is not nice. If you guys don't like it, let me remove that background. Here we go. Cool. Awesome. So overcoming sales objections, tips and techniques is what we're going to be doing today. I have some surprises for you guys. Also, at the end of the webinar, we will be offering complimentary leads as usual. Okay, so if you come to our webinars, you get complimentary leads. You'll get a QR code and a bunch of other stuff. So just scan it, go fill up the form, and you'll get a bunch of complimentary leads. All right, cool. So as you can see, overcoming sales objections, tips and techniques, right? So let's get down to magic, right? So this webinar is going to help you discover the tips and techniques to overcome sales objections, right? We have a few strategies. If you follow them, you can turn objections into opportunities to close more deals and provide exceptional customer experiences after, of course. Okay. Or you can call customer experience when you're also dealing with a lead and you're closing that deal, right? So this is a bit boring, so let's get down to it. Okay, so the proven tips and techniques, the first things in any type of sales and objections is to acknowledge it, and is to empathize, right? So if your screen, by the way, doesn't look good, you go, if you're on YouTube, you have to go on the little settings, you have to change it to a higher resolution. If you're on LinkedIn, I think you just have to refresh and see if your internet is good, because we had that complaint last time. So please do that. Okay, great stuff. So acknowledge and empathize. Okay, what does this mean, right? You start by acknowledging the customer's concerns and empathizing with their perspective, right? They might say, I don't have the budget, it's too expensive. How do I know I'm going to get results, and so on? Start with acknowledging that, agree with them, say, yeah, I understand that you think this is expensive, right? That maybe you don't have the budget for this, our service. Make sure they understand that you understand them. That's the first thing. That's absolutely the first thing. In any conversation, not even in a sales conversation, when you're out and about in a bar, if you acknowledge people and you empathize with them, you're already building a better bond. You're starting a much better connection with them. Okay, so that's very, very important. So please do that in whatever conversation you're having, not just in sales. Okay, and then you can get into sharing some real stories. Right, share real success stories or case studies where your product or service has overcome similar objections. Okay, so always have a library of your success stories, case studies, whatever you want to call them, use cases, whatever you want to call them, testimonials, right? Have a library of those, that some of them, right, are tagged according to the objection. Oh, we don't have the budget or something like that. Then you have a testimonial that says, we were not sure about the expense because we didn't have that budget, but the return on investment was incredible and we're so happy that we went with that service or we bought that product. If you have a testimony like that, case study that says something like that, that's the one that you want to use in that time. Okay, so make sure that you have a library of these type of things. Okay, some case studies, use cases, testimonials, and that you're tagging them accordingly, so that when the need comes, you can find them very easily, right? And you don't have to go through them. You're on a sales call with me right now, and you're like, oh, I need to find that use case, I need to find that testimonial. No, it's tagged. I open that tab. Oh, here's a use case. Here's a case study I just sent to you, or let me show you that one, right? So that's important. Or you can do this obviously on an email, on a follow-up as well. Okay, so anticipate common objections and address them proactively during your pitch or presentation. This is kind of what we should all be doing, right? We do anticipate these. Maybe your first sales call, no, but if you've done it 100 times, obviously you anticipate them, you can address them. But again, this goes back onto your library. You can even have a library of objections, right? Your library can have objections, why these objections might occur, what can you say to respond, what are some of the supporting materials that you have that would help with these objections. If you have those prepared already, you're going to have a great time. You're not going to be like on the sales call and get stuck, right? So it did happen to me. It's been years I wasn't selling. I've been in marketing, I've been in growth, and as the CEO, I took on board the sales of the company, and it was scary at first. So if you were scared, that's normal. I was scared myself, which I sold 20 years ago. I sold luxury carpets, door to door, rugs, and I knocked on doors, and I cold people, and I literally knocked on doors. That was a great time. Anyways, that's another story that we can get into maybe at the end. So anticipate common objections and address them proactively during your pitch or presentation. All right, so get ready for that. Offer a limited time trial. It could be a freemium. You could have a demo, right? Offer a limited time trial or a demo to allow the customer to experience your solution firsthand. If they're unsure, they should see the product. This is something that I was teaching when I was teaching master's degrees. is, the old school methodology of product-led growth was when you walked at the perfume shop, right, or at the first floor of the shopping center. People would spray you. It would smell horrible, but they'll spray you everywhere. You could smell it, right? You could really try out the product. And the same thing with the cars. When we buy a car, we don't actually buy a car just like that, right? We do test drive it. So how can they test drive your product, your service? How can they test drive it? Find a way to test drive your product. We do that at TaskDrive. After our sales call, I will give you a form. You will fill up the form with your ICP, your ideal customer profile, and my team will work on a sample run. And we will get you a bunch of sample. These samples are real samples, right? They are just created for you. They're researched for you on lead research. And then we'll give this to you. You can tackle those leads and see the quality of our leads. And we're very proud of that. So this is why we do that. We do that for free. If and when a lead comes to that stage where we do the sample run, out of the sample run, I think I've closed about 90% of the deals. All right, they look at the sample run, they love it, they give feedback, and then we close. So that sample run for us is a big win. So please do that as well. Listen actively and tailor your response. The one thing that I'm going to say that I hate, because I get sold a lot too, because I'm the CEO here. I get a lot of sales calls, people selling stuff to me. They don't listen to me, right? I say, no, this is my need. This is what's happening. This is how many people I have. Something happens. They don't listen to me, and they're still continuing very generic, right? And please don't be generic with me, because if you're generic with me, I'm going to act generic and I'm going to say goodbye, ciao, ciao, right? So have a remarkable, have a pen and paper, have an iPad, have your CRM open on the side, whatever you want, have a pen and write it on your skin, but write down some notes as you get information. If I tell you how many people I have in my team, how many people might using it, what's my problems about the solution that you're telling me, why am I afraid to buy it or to subscribe to it? Get down those notes right away. Those notes, they're going to be useful now, during the call, during the presentation, during the demo, during the pitch, but they're also going to be necessary later down the line. Okay, when they get back on an email, you send a proposal, they don't like it, something happens. If you have those notes, you're going to use them. So listen actively to the customer's objection and tailor your response to their specific needs. Sounds very straightforward, very simple, but we do forget these things. So I brought a bunch of stuff for us to remember. Cool, let's just continue. So tailor responses to different objections. In a bit, I'm actually going to give you some really cool frameworks, some really cool ways of doing objection handling. So stay with me, stay connected. You'll see in a second. All right, cool. Yep. So return on investment breakdown, ROI breakdown. Break down the pricing to show how your solution offers a higher return on investment over time. I do this. We do this a lot at TaskDrive, right? We charge XYZ. We tell you this is how many leads you're going to get. And then I'll tell you, if you close a couple of those leads in a quarter, how much do you charge on average? Your average revenue per account. You tell me that. And I'm like, look, your return on investment will be 250% in the first quarter. No brainer, right? So then if you can offer that return on investment, if you can show that calculation, you're gonna be in a good place with the lead. Seamless onboarding. If you have a product or even a service, walk them through your seamless onboarding process and dedicated support team. We all want to be onboarded properly. We all want it to be seamless. We all want to be handholded, right? Handheld while we're buying your service or product or subscribing to it. Show how professional you are and how your team helps people do this. Okay, do that. User-friendly design. Okay, the UX. I mean, this is if you're going more on a product side. The UX is important. Explain how your solution is designed with user friendliness in mind and provide thorough training and ongoing support. Okay. What does this mean? Making sure that, you have a solution that looks very good, is user friendly. It's a no-brainer. It's not super complex. Even if it has advanced feature, it doesn't have to be a complex interface. Complementary integration. Discuss how your solution can complement their current setup and help them achieve even greater results. Right. So we do this a lot. I get a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, but I'm on Salesforce and I have 10,000 leads there," and I'm like, "That's perfectly fine. My team can tap into your Salesforce. They can update your Salesforce. They can import into your Salesforce. They can even cleanse your Salesforce, and they can enrich even your Salesforce. That's even the extra mile, not just from the leads that I provide to you at TaskDrive, but also my team can go the extra mile and help you with the database that you already have." That's very important. That's an integration for us, okay? Because we can tap into whatever CRM you have. We have a list of CRMs, we have documentation for them, we have training for them, and my team gets trained on them according to what you have. So if you have a product and you have certain integrations to Google Analytics or whatever, and the client, the lead, is using these, mention them. Mention your integration. Show them how you can integrate with them. That's very, very important. All right. So now in a second, I'm going to get down to the magic. Yeah. Before that, let me just take a little breather and some water or maybe soda. I have some soda here. So I might have my soda for a second. That's it. All right. I'm very excited for the next steps because we're going to look at some frameworks, as I mentioned. Cool. Before that, though, turning objections into opportunities. This is our goal. I love it when a sales call goes a little wrong and there's an objection. That means there is a really good place for me. There's a big chance for me. There's an opportunity for me to actually turn that into an opportunity because I see it as an opportunity, and that's why you can turn an objection into opportunities. You know, um, so long-term cost savings. Use objections as opportunities to discuss the long-term cost savings and return on investment that your product offers. Maybe in this first month, second month, it's going to be expensive and you're not going to have return on investment. But on the fourth month, fifth month, you're going to have the double return on investment. That's a no-brainer. Can you show that, as I mentioned to you? I mentioned earlier. Can you show that? Do you have a calculator? Can you open up your screen and calculate it together with the lead? They love that. They love that. I had an amazing guy. I hope he's watching. And he told me, he said, "Tim, I love what you're doing." He's like, "Can we have some return on investment calculation?" I said, "Look, you're not going with XYZ service with me. You're just going with my basic service." He said, "But do you have something like a calculator or, if some type of spreadsheet that I can put some numbers that I have, some benchmarks and stuff, and see what we could get?" And this doesn't have to be super accurate. They just want to see on average what could happen. What's the best case scenario? What's the worst case scenario? And what's going to happen on average? If you can show that, it's a no-brainer. And I did show that. We did a spreadsheet. We did a calculation. We looked at what he has in his database, what we're going to provide him, what's his average revenue per account, and so on. And we did this calculation. And it was like amazing, right? So go the extra mile. Go the extra mile and do these things. Okay, do these things. Great. I have empathy again. Before that, let me see. No, I have highlight resources. Use the objections as an opportunity to highlight your onboarding and training resources. We've mentioned that. I have this here again. It's important. I do want to repeat this. Okay. Get an objection and, get that highlighted as an opportunity. Talk about your onboarding, about your training resources. Say, "Don't worry. I got you covered. I got your back." People love that. I'm just going to go back there. So I'm breaking these down a little bit further. Empathy, right? We said that. Acknowledge their past experience and express empathy. We had one client, actually a client now, and they're like, "Oh, we've had really bad experience with lead research companies before, with lead generation companies." I was like, "Oh my God, I even had it before TaskDrive, before I was the CEO of TaskDrive. Years before, I worked as well with lead research companies, lead generation companies. I've had terrible experience. Even just the role before I had a recruitment company, and we worked with a lead research company. Lovely owner, he gave us the refund and stuff, but it was a terrible experience. They didn't deliver anything that they said they would deliver. We had to fight a little bit, and we got our refund, which is great, but it was a terrible experience. So when this lead told me about that, I told him about my experience as well. And I said, "I'm here, the CEO, and my goal is to make sure that this doesn't happen. My goal is that to make sure that that doesn't happen, so that you guys have a better experience, right?" work for a non-profit managing our partnership in LA. Yes, nice. I used to live in LA. I lived about 6 years in LA in 90292 Marina Del Rey. If you're around there outside the 90 freeway and from the Ralph supermarket, it's great times. Anyways, that's sidetracking. Empathy, 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 empathy. We love empathy, right? People love it, and we forget that. So please do that. Personalized support. Turn the objection into a conversation about how your team will guide theirs through the learning process. Super important. Again, I have so many leads that I have great calls with, and they're like, "Oh yeah, but what are we gonna do with that database? How are we gonna do it? What are we gonna tackle with those leads? How we do it?" We're like, "Don't worry, we have guides, we have documentation, we have even an internal course, we have some videos. Your account manager is gonna give you tips and tricks. There is a massive learning library, an education library that we can provide to you and to your team." Right. So we don't just give you the leads, but we make sure that you use those leads. Because if you get leads from TaskDrive and you don't use them and you don't do anything with them, the return on investment is very minimal. You have an amazing database of leads, but if you don't do anything with them, you're not going to turn those leads into customers. And if you don't do that, then you might not want to continue with TaskDrive. So, even to clients that are watching, if you're unsure what you're doing with your leads, please reach out to your account manager. Your account manager would love to help you. I'd love to help you. Even I do jump on calls with clients when it's needed. Okay, great stuff. So this is where I think the magic of this webinar is today. So if you're having your coffee, if you went to go get your coffee, put it on the table now. Focus, because we're gonna go through some really cool stuff now. Effective strategies toolkit. Okay, so we're gonna look at the empathy bridge. We're gonna look at the value proposition pivot, the objection anticipation matrix, the success story cascade, the collaborative problem solving loop, the objection to need translation, the comparative benefits map, the objection hypothetical, the custom solution framework, and the objection feedback loop. All right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think about 10 tools, 10 frameworks, 10 systems, processes, whatever you want to call them, because you can turn these into amazing processes and systems. Okay. So let's get down to these. I think this is where really it's important, and usually what I do for that, sometimes I even zoom in. Let me see if I can zoom in just to show you guys. No, that's all right. Okay, cool. Well, I'll just make sure that you guys can read it. So let's get down to that. So the empathy bridge, that's the first one that I want to talk about. Okay, let me expand that. Boom. All right. I hope you can see it clearly on the screen. If you haven't signed up yet, put your email address in one of our boxes on the webinar, as you register, and there it asks you if you allow marketing communication. Allow it, because we're going to send you some really good material. And if you don't receive it, you're watching a replay of this, send me a message. Send me an email at tim@taskdrive.com. It's very simple. It's tim@taskdrive.com. Okay. Please do send me a message. I'll be more than happy to reply, okay, and to get you these frameworks, these toolkits, right? They're very important. Okay, great stuff. All right, awesome. Just making sure everybody's okay. The chat is fine. Everybody's having a great time. It looks like it, so that's good. Cool, awesome. So the empathy bridge, a communication technique focused on understanding and acknowledging customer needs and concerns to build a trusting relationship. That's what empathy is, right? Is to put yourself in the other person's shoes and so on, and acknowledge it and understand their feelings, their concerns, and it really builds a trusting relationship. So what are very simple stuff here? It's not an amazing, crazy toolkit, and it doesn't have to be. It's just, if you have this toolkit, and you can actually take these and customize it for yourself. Like, what are the sentences you'd say? What are some of the words that you want to use? What are some of the feature or some of the product stuff that you want to show people according to that? Right. So if you have these, you'll have a great time. Okay. So what do I mean is listen actively. Okay. Listen actively. All right. This is very, very important. Okay. Listen actively. Validate customer emotions and offer genuine solutions. Okay. I'm just going to leave it there for a second. Okay. Because I think that's important. All right. Cool. So I do repeat very quickly: listen actively, validate customer emotions, and offer genuine solutions. Okay. I actually do even have an example for this. So let me walk you through the example. A customer calls upset about a late shipment. Yeah. Instead of jumping to excuses right away, the representative says, I understand how important this delivery is to you, and I'm truly sorry for the inconvenience. Let's find out where your package is right now. Okay. So you also want some time, because what happens is when we get objection, we get sometimes panic because we want that sale, or or the customer calls. This is a bit more customer support, but same thing, right? The example, somebody says something about the budget and so on. You say, hey, I understand that your budget is 2K and we're offering you 3K. Let's talk about that. Let's find out how can we make sure that we get closer to your budget, or that you're going to be okay with us, with our product and service. So that's the empathy bridge. So make sure to create some empathy, and to create a great trustable relationship right away. I do apologize for that call. Boom. All right. So make sure to do that. All right. Okay. Great. So let me go on to the next one. Oh, what happened there? Okay. So I have to do this. The value proposition pivot. Okay. The value proposition pivot. Let me open that one up. Description, right? The act of rephrasing or refocusing your value proposition to align better with the client's specific needs or concerns. Okay, that's the value proposition pivot. Pivoting, when you pivot your startup and so on, same idea. This is the act of rephrasing or refocusing your value proposition to align better with the client's or with the lead's specific needs or concerns. Great. So what are some of the action steps for this? Identify core benefits, align with the customer's needs, and effective communication. Another example: a software company initially markets its products as a cost-saving tool, but finds a prospective client more concerned with efficiency. They pivot and highlight how the software can automate time-consuming tasks, aligning with the client's primary need. Okay, so most of the time we think clients want our service or product for this benefits, for this value and stuff, but they have something else in mind. And if you find out what they have in mind, pivot right away. Pivot your value proposition to that. Is it time saving? Is it the cost? Is it a feature that they wanted? Okay. And maybe you don't care too much about that feature, but the lead, the prospect cares about that feature. So switch over your conversation, and then talk about that value proposition instead. And your clients will love you for that. Okay. Great. Okay. So quick action steps again. You identify the core benefits, align with customer needs, and effective communication. That's your value proposition pivot. Simple. It sounds simple. I don't know. I say simple, but when I say things, people are, oh, you say it's simple, but it's not. Nothing is simple in life. Okay. But we can learn from it, and that's where the magic is. Okay. Great. So let's collapse this one. Let's look at the objection anticipation matrix. I like this one as well. This is a tool for preemptively identifying potential objections from clients and preparing responses to address them. It's what I told you earlier. Have a library of objections, have a library of use cases, case studies, testimonials. Have a library. Use it on Notion, do it on a document, wherever. Just make sure that you do have that library. So the action steps for the objection anticipation matrix is very simple. It's map out potential objections, prepare effective rebuttals, right? So responses and material, and role play scenarios. All right, sales role playing. Get your friend, get a colleague, tell them, I want you to come with this objection. They come with that objection, but you're ready for the objection. Boom, I have material for it. I have words, sentences for it. I have a case study. It's in my library of objections, right? Example: before launching a new health supplement, the company identifies possible objections like price, safety, and effectiveness. They prepare research data and customer testimonials to counteract these objections when they arise. Okay, this is good. I like this. I'm just putting everything on silence, guys. Here we go. That's it. Everything's on silent now. Should be, hopefully, Apple. Um, all right. So the objection anticipation matrix. I mean, it's a toolkit. It's a thing. It's a methodology. It's a mindset. Just prepare for this. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, make sure you do have everything ready, so that if this happens and people suddenly has an objection, you're like, oh boom, I'm ready for this. If you're ready for it, you're gonna feel much better, and the call, the pitch, the demo, whatever you want to call it, is gonna go much better. It's gonna go much, much, much better. Great. Okay. All right, let's collapse this one. Let me just also do this again, just to make sure that you're all good and everything's going smoothly. Let's make sure. Boom, boom, boom. All right, let's close that for a second. And let me get my soda. So we've done a few already. Okay, so we've had the empathy bridge, the value proposition pivot, the objection anticipation matrix. All right, and we have a few more. So let's continue. If you do have a question, anything, please put it on the chat. I am checking the chat, and I love the chat. So don't think that it would bother me or something like that. I love questions. I love the engagement. So please just put it on the chat. I'm seeing if I can check again. That was Carol. Carol, thank you so much. I couldn't see your name earlier. Carol is in LA. Awesome. Carol, let me know where you are in LA, because I do miss LA. It's been ages. I haven't gone there, and I used to love living in LA. Great. Okay, let me share my screen again so we can continue the magic. So the success story cascade, obviously it says it on the tin, but let's expand that a little bit. The success story cascade is a series of real life success stories used to demonstrate the effectiveness of your product or solution. It's not one. That's why it's cascade, right? It's a series of them. Okay, you can have a few, right? One, it could be a little bit lighter, a bit more deeper, and then suddenly it's like a very big, deep case study or success story of an entrepreneur making a lot of money thanks to our lead research. Okay, and the first one is, we helped them cleanse their CRM and they saved a bit of time. The second one is, we've helped their sales team be more productive by making them save 25% of their time. And then the big one as well, thanks to our leads, the company made $50 million in revenue just working on our leads. That's a really good one. Okay, and then people will want to make $50 million, right? So choose relevant stories, outline key metrics. So metrics, numbers, KPIs. People want to hear numbers, data here. Okay, and provide testimonials. Choose relevant stories. Again, make sure you have a library of these stories, not just on your website. Have it on your on your notes, documents, so you can just pull them up when it's needed. Right? Outline the key metrics. Have some really good numbers to throw at people. Make sure they're real, and provide testimonials of other customers that have been happy with you. So an example. The examples I've tried, like from hardware to gym to some weird stuff, just to show you that these methodologies can be implemented across any industry. A weight loss program shares a cascade of success stories, starting from small achievements like a 5-pound loss, progressing to transformative stories of customers losing 100 pounds, demonstrating both immediate and long-term results. Okay. In the first month, you will lose this much weight. In 3 months, if you continue, this is what's going to happen. In a year's time, you're going to be all slim and skinny and amazing, right? So you're showing the cascade, right? The small one, the mid one, and the big one. Okay. Great. Success story. Choose relevant stories. Outline key metrics. Provide the testimonials. Great stuff. Let's collapse that. We have a few more. I hope you're taking notes. The collaborative problem-solving loop. I love loops because I make music, as you can see, obviously. A dynamic, interactive process involving the customer in finding a mutual solution to a problem. This is awesome. Identify the problem. Collaborate on possible solutions. Iterate and implement. Okay? I do this a lot on sales calls. Okay? We identify a problem that they have on their database, on their sales cycle. Something is wrong. Why is it wrong? We collaborate on possible solutions with our service, with our account manager, with our strategy, with our consulting, and we iterate and implement. Or we iterate the solution, and then the implementation usually means that you've signed up and that you've paid, and that's exactly what you all want. You want the clients, right? So don't forget to tackle that way. Good stuff. Okay, just check it at the same time. Anybody more on the chat? No, that's good. Okay, amazing. So next up, let me give you the example. I didn't give you the example of this one. An IT solutions provider encounters an issue with system integration at a client's site. Instead of imposing a one-size-fits-all solution, they work with the client to identify the best approach, keeping them involved in the decision-making process. If you're finding the solution with the client together or with the lead together, they've already kind of, given in. They'll sign, they'll work with you, they'll implement that solution because they came up with it together with you. All right, the collaborative problem solving loop. That's what we did. The objection to need translation, converting customer objections into clearly identified needs that can be addressed. Yeah. What are the action steps here? You listen to the objection. Again, this goes back to acknowledging, empathizing, listening, blah blah blah. This is super important, so please do that. Okay, listen to the objection, translate into an underlying need. Okay, and address that need. So here's a quick example. I brought it from a software today. A client objects saying, your software is too complicated. The salesperson translates this into an unmet need for easy usability and offers a series of free training sessions as a solution. It is complex, but we do have an amazing training program. Your account manager, even in the beginning, can have daily calls or weekly calls until making sure you are comfortable with the software. So it's not complicated anymore. It's easy for you now because you know the software really well. Okay. So we do that a little bit. How do we do that? This is our ICP, ideal customer profile, that the clients come up with. Sometimes it's not super accurate, or it could be, it could be complicated. So together, every week as we do the lead research exports, we work together, and in that work, we're optimizing, we're improving on that ICP. And usually that takes a couple of weeks of feedback. In about 2 to 3 weeks, clients are like, wow, thank you so much for working with me to make sure I even know my ICP. Okay. Sometimes their ICP is just, I sell to CEOs that are in the US that work in tech companies. That's not a clear ICP. That's not an ideal customer profile. That's just like a bit of a persona, a bit of a target. But you have to dig deeper. What's their pain? What is the solution? What is your solution to their pain point, and so on. And as you know that, you're going to have a better time targeting those leads. Great. So the objection to need translation, I think this is one of the ones that I use quite often. It does help close quite quickly. Okay. Let's collapse this one. I need to start bringing on guests because I'm on my own. I know there's a few people there listening and watching me because I'm on my own. I'd love somebody to chat to. Sometimes I chat with ChatGPT. That's easy. But anyways, the Comparative Benefits Map. Here's another one. It's a visual tool that outlines how your product or service compares favorably to competitors in key areas. I'm sure you've seen that. You see this on websites, on marketing websites, like on the front end of the website of a company, and they'll put us, competitor 1, competitor 2, competitor 3, and they'll put little dots that are full or half full and so on, or like little tick marks and little X's, and they'll compare the features of 2, 3 products or services and so on. That's really good. It's good, but you can also do this on your sales calls. So identify the comparison metrics, use visual aids, and keep updated with market changes. Okay. So if you say, oh, our competitor doesn't have this, and then your lead says, oh yeah, they launched that a couple months ago, they're like, well, you don't even know your competition, right? So be careful with that. An example here, I brought a very crazy vacuum cleaner example, but it is is a good example, in my opinion. A vacuum cleaner brand uses a comparative benefits map to show how their suction power, battery life, and pricing outperform their main competitors, all laid out in an easy to read chart. You can send this, you can share your screen, you can have this on your website. This is the comparative benefits map. Okay, great. Identify the comparison metrics, use visual aids. Make sure this is visual because people can understand. If I keep telling you, I have this feature, they don't have this feature, but they have this feature, you're already lost. But if you have it in a visual chart or something like that, you're going to have a much better time. And I think this is also a great one that you can send after. Say, oh, I'll send you a comparison, a benefits map. They're like, oh, what? Will you send me that? Yes. And potentially the lead also spoke about your competitor's name on the call. And if you can even include that, make sure, oh, you mentioned this competitor of ours. I've also included that on the benefits map. Check him out. This is good. All right, the comparative benefits map. Let's collapse that. Let's go to objection hypothetical. As this is a strategy of framing objections as hypothetical scenarios that can be collaboratively explored for solutions. Again, do you see the word there? Collaboratively. With the lead on a sales call, on a demo, on a pitch, you do want to collaborate. If you're collaborating, if you're talking together about their problem and you're finding solutions, you're brainstorming together, they're already your buddy, right? They already see you as a partner that might have, you're already a taught buddy, that you together you're gonna find a solution, and they'll love that. You're already building a relationship there, and that's super important. Okay, so action steps: pose the objection as a what if, explore the consequences, and lead to a solution. All right, so we do get this a lot. What if the leads are bad? Well, okay. What if my leads are bad? What if the lead of that week that I gave you bounces or they're not accurate? Well, what would happen? You go to spam, it might be bad on your domain. Before that, there is many other things. You might waste time and so on, and then we lead to a solution. We say, all right, why don't we make sure that we verify these again? It could be a solution. Why don't I just replace anything that you're unsure of? Any leads that you think are not verified or that are not in your ideal target, in your ICP, in your ideal customer profile, why don't I just replace those? Complimentary, for free, included in your package. Oh, Tim, would you do that? Yeah, of course we would do that because we have a guarantee of 100% verified leads. They're accurate leads. Yeah, so they are your ICP. I'm not sure if they're going to buy from you. That I can't guarantee, but I can guarantee that they're the right people to speak to. Would you be able to speak to them? I can't guarantee you on a lead research package, but on an appointment setting package that we have, then things are a little bit deeper, right? Then I can tell you that we're going to get appointments. So let's look at an example here as well. When a customer objects to a subscription fee, the salesperson asks, what if this subscription could guarantee savings that exceeds its cost? And then provides data to back this up. Very simple, right? What if the subscription would guarantee savings that exceeds its cost? What if that happens? You do have this problem, it's expensive, but what if your return on investment is higher? It's positive. Well, then you got me, right? Because that's what we want. We want positive ROI. That's your objection hypothetical. Great, let's collapse that one. We have a couple more. The custom solution framework. All right, so the custom solution framework, it says it on the tin again a little bit, right? But it's a good one. Let me just double check on the chat in the meantime, because I do want to make sure that everybody's okay. Great, you heard me again there possibly, but that's all right. The custom solution framework, okay, it's a template that allows for personalized solutions tailored to meet each customer's unique needs. Each of your customers are unique, and accept that. They could be in the same industry, they could be the same job title, but they're not the same person. They're all unique. We're all unique. You're unique. I'm unique. Everybody's unique. So the action steps here is flexible and adaptable, focus on unique needs, leverages in-house expertise. They're not really action steps, you might say, but I could tell you that you have to be flexible and adaptable. Okay, and your template should have that. You should focus on the unique needs. So you might have a list of unique needs, and be like, oh, this is this customer's unique need. I have it already mapped out, and leverage your in-house expertise. Okay, so that means go to your product manager, to your developers. If you're a product, go to in our case, I go to my head of operations, and I ask him, the client said this and so on. How can we do that? They have a bit of a unique need and stuff. And then he'll tell me, oh, Tim, we could do this and that. And we brainstorm together and we get back to the client and the client and the lead. And they're like, oh, thank you so much for thinking about that. Job done. Here, another example, an architecture firm offers a custom solution framework that allows clients to mix and match services like design, material sourcing, and project management according to their specific needs and budget. I think this is an easy example from the architecture firm. But we also have that, right? We have two major services, which are lead research and appointment setting services. But we do have mini add-ons to make these major services even better, like our pre-targeting and our website visitor identification, our consulting, which is already included. So then I can also tell the client, all right, you're going to do lead research, but I think you should also get the pre-targeting because you've had bad experiences before. You could have warmed up the leads, you didn't get good responses, so why don't you use pre-targeting to warm them up? Works a charm. So that's your custom solution framework. Keep that. And then last but not least, the objections feedback loop. Okay, so an ongoing process for collecting and analyzing customer objections to continuously improve products and services. This is very important. I was just reading on LinkedIn, was it last night or something like that, and it was like, why do we build shit products? Yeah, I'm sorry I use that word, but it's true. Like a lot of products are terrible. They're crap. Why are they crap? Because we build thinking that we have a problem and that this is the solution, and then we don't get enough customer feedback. We don't monitor enough, and so what features are we going to build next? Don't even think about it. You have so many customers, hopefully, that will tell you all about it. Just listen to them, monitor it. So monitor customer feedback, implement improvements, reevaluate, and adapt. Okay. So this is also, I would say this is still an objection, even on a sales call. Why? Because somebody can tell you, well, you don't have this feature and everybody has it. And you've heard this 10 times, 15 times, 20 times, 30 times, whatever, right? You've heard this so many times. You should bring this to your product team, or to your service. And then you should include that, because if you include that, the next time you'll be able to say, oh, we have that, or you can go back to all those people that you've noted and they didn't want to, you lost the deal because you didn't have that feature, or you didn't have the onboarding, or you didn't have the training program, and so on. And you can go back to them and be like, hey, we've heard you, we've listened to you, we have all that now. They'll be happy you've listened to them. We all like when people listen to us. I love it when you guys listen to me, right? So, so do listen to your leads, prospects, customers, and implement those improvements, and then reevaluate and adapt according to that. Your product, your service, your pitch. You might even say, okay, we can't sign you up right now, but in 2 months we're gonna have those features and we're gonna have that. Can we sign you up then? You're honest. You're not bringing them to something that then they're gonna be angry for 2 months. Instead, they can get ready, they do other things, and in 2 months they come back and they're like, oh, thank you for building that. That's very important. So, example, again, a software company maintains a database of customer objections and feedback. They use this data to prioritize updates in their development cycle, making sure that the most common objections are addressed in subsequent releases. Yeah. So this, as you can see, comes back to your library, to your database of objections and feedback, user research and stuff. So make sure that you have that. Okay, that's your objection and feedback loop. And I think that's our toolkit. Just a reminder for everybody. Let's just look here. We had the empathy bridge, the value proposition pivot. So the empathizing, acknowledging, empathizing. The value proposition pivot, pivot the value proposition if they're thinking of something else that is more relevant to them, pivot it. The objection anticipation matrix, get ready for all these objections, map them out, have a matrix, have it on your side screen in front of you, and when you hear it, just go for it. The success story, mini success, bigger success, even bigger success. This is what can happen. The collaborative problem solving loop, identify the problem together and solve it together. brainstorm together. They love it. They love it. The objection to need translation. Okay, anything that they object, that can also be a need. Okay, so you can turn that around. You can translate it to a need, and you can show them how you can meet that need. And if you can't, obviously put it in your backend. Make sure that that gets developed. The comparative benefits map. This is A, this is B, this is C. Three different companies. Why are we better than these? Because of these features, because of these services, and show it visually. Show it visually. Um, that was the comparative benefits map. The objection hypothetical. Okay, yeah. So again, same thing. Have a what if. Yeah. So they say, oh, this happens. I say, okay, what if you're saying that, but what if you're missing on this return on investment? What if what you thought is wrong and this happens? What if? So make hypothesis of what ifs. Okay. Um, the custom solution framework says it on the tin. Custom solutions, right? It's not usually one size fits all. Show your customer that you can add some extra features or you can take away some stuff, and that you can adapt your service to them and so on. The objection feedback loop. This is a no-brainer that every big company should do. Just get those objections, put them in somewhere. Make sure that you have more material for them next time, and that you're learning from them. You're developing accordingly your product, your features, and that you're updating your services according to that as well. Great stuff. So the toolkit, we saw the toolkit. Let me go back down. Emerging trends in objection management very quickly. We have 5 minutes. Personalized AI responses. Use AI to provide personalized responses that reflect customers' unique needs and preferences. Behavioral analytics integration. Track customer behavior to gain insights into their needs, preferences, and objections. Okay, this is trends. Not we can't all do this yet, but there are some really good tools out there that can do this. Objection gamification. Gamify the objection management process by turning it into a fun and engaging experience. Right. So these are 3 trends that we can look into in the next webinars: personalized AI responses, behavioral analytics integration, and objection gamification. The conclusion is you can use these proven tips and techniques to tailor your responses to each customer's specific objections. I don't even have to have that, I think, anymore. I did something wrong here. 1 second, guys. Here we go. Yes, I just wanted to get rid of that so you can see me better. Okay. So the idea here is really, I've given you some tips. I've given you some techniques. You can tailor those responses to each customer's specific objections according to these frameworks that I have given you. If you have also your database, your library, you can use those. So prepare those now, and please turn objections into opportunities. I think these objections are great. Don't be upset because somebody objects something. Be excited. But you'll be only excited if you're ready for it, if you're prepared for it. You can overcome sales objections, and you can provide exceptional experience throughout your sales cycle. And then when their customers will, of course, keep that experience. With those effective strategies toolkit that I showed you, and the emerging trends in objection management, you and your team can stay ahead, and you can continuously improve your objection management strategy, because you need to have one. If you don't have one today, please go and get it ready. And if you need our help, we're here for that. I have 2 more minutes here. Any questions? If you have a question, put it on the chat now, because it takes a little bit of time for the chat to show that. But I bet you guys might want all that toolkit. So my team here, I have my marketing manager here as well, I think. So my team here is going to turn that into an amazing guide that is going to be on our website. And then we can even turn it into a living guide, a dynamic guide that we can iterate on it and keep building on top of it with other examples, with some graphics and some templates for you guys and so on. So that was me today, talking to you about overcoming sales objections. And you had tips and techniques for effective responses. And we had our little toolkit of little mini frameworks, systems, mindsets on how to tackle objections. Yeah, awesome. Amazing. I'm just checking on the chat if there's anybody saying something. Anybody, you have any questions? This is the time now to ask those questions, because if not, this is going to be it. Well, I'm waiting a couple more seconds. If not, thank you very, very, very much. We have in 2 weeks' time, we'll have again another webinar. If there is a topic you would like me to tackle, please do mention it. We come up with these ideas and of what we know, but again, I am and my team as well. I know we're more than happy to tackle any topics that you need more information on. Yeah, we're quite flexible. We're a lean and agile team here at TaskDrive. So in the meantime, well, thank you very much. I'm glad that you found it super helpful, because that's exactly why we do it. As you've guys been here until the end, what I'll do is I'll offer you the 25 complimentary leads. Carol, thank you so much. You're awesome for listening in. So in both places there are QR codes and so on. Okay, if you scan that QR code, you can get 25 complimentary leads. If there is a problem, I don't know for what reason, just contact me. You can send a email to tim@taskdrive.com. That's TIM at taskdrive.com, right? So tim@taskdrive.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, add me on LinkedIn, and then let's make sure that you get some really good leads, and then we can help you grow your business. That's why we're here. We want to make sure that every company grows, and that's our mission here. Well, thank you very much. I leave you to my amazing music. Okay. Oh, and my team has also put it on the chat, the link, so you can also link that. Thank you, team. And then I think it was hip hop. Now I'm going to put like a lounge. Someone scanned the QR code. That's awesome to know. Thank you for scanning the QR code. Scan it. Get your 25 complimentary lead. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and see you at our next webinar in about 2 weeks at the same place, same time, same place. It'll be 2 Wednesdays if I'm not on holiday. I don't think I'm on holiday, but I'd love to take a week off at some point. But see you guys then. Thank you so much. Thank you, Marydale. Thank you, Carol. You guys been awesome. And we're here to help you with whatever you need in sales enablement and leads in appointment setting. So let us know. And thanks again. Peace out.